Greetings, Warlords. Rodge here. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the skirmish miniatures game from Studio Tomahawk. And today I'm joined by Miguel. How's it going, Miguel?
That's fine, Rodge, and let me thank you on behalf of the Portuguese Saga community for this wonderful opportunity to be in your wonderful show.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so today we're going to do something we haven't done for a while, and that's kind of do a community spotlight type video. So
Mhm.
in the past, I've hit quite a few different countries and areas, and I think I got most of them covered, but there's places I still haven't got to yet. And I appreciate you reaching out and offering to do this now. There's a lot I want to discuss with you. You sent me some documents about, kind of how things are going over there and the scenarios you guys like to use. So I'm definitely interested in talking about that. But how did you get your start in Saga?
Well, I started in the V1 time, when little time after the game showed up, as a player only, and then with time, let's say maybe probably 2018. We got this little group of Saga players together. We are five players from Saga Portugal. We decided to organize a big international event. We
Okay.
called it the first Saga Slugfest. Unfortunately, the pandemic ruined everything. But then let's try to do something again. And we started with our Portuguese league, which has been very successful. That's
Cool.
basically the story. Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think even, with that Slugfest, you kind of reached out to me back in the day there, if I recall
We
correctly.
did, yes, that's
And
true.
it was cool to hear from you back then. So, tell me a little bit about the community and how you guys sort of run things over there. I think this is pretty
Okay.
interesting.
Well, the community is a very small community, I would say between 40 and 50 people. I'm talking competitive community, of course.
Sure.
Uh, and what we are committed to do is, of course, playing the game, helping people to have fun. This is very important for us to have fun. So we decided to focus on the competition. And in order to do that, we thought, well, you can organize, a few tournaments, but how about you organize something more enduring, like a league where people
Hmm.
can compete throughout the year? So we decided to start the league with like 6 tournaments a year, bi-monthly tournaments. And I think people enjoy it more because they know that it's in the long run. So they do like 20 games a year in the league. I'll tell you about the specifics of the tournaments a little bit later. And we also devised something which I think it's fun and it's interesting. I think we are the first Saga community that uses Elo, something
Sure. So, like a rankings system,
exactly.
essentially, kind of
It's
an
some,
ongoing
yeah, I
number.
would say something similar to the tennis Elo.
Okay.
The Elo allows you to do what? You can quantify players' performance. Okay, so I'd say that Rodge, when he starts with us, he gets 1,000 basic points. And then, according to his performance in the tournaments, he either goes up or down. Let's say if he faces a very strong player and he wins, he's going to get a lot of Elo points, and the contrary, of course, is it's the same. So this, keeps people in the league because sometimes people even compete against themselves to try to, increase their punctuation, their classification. These are all tools to aggregate people, basically, and it's been very successful.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So you can go to events, you're not the best player or whatever, but by the end of it, you can probably get your number to go up, if
Yeah.
you
exactly.
beat a couple folks. So you got
Exactly.
something else to shoot for. So I
Yeah,
think that's
and there's another practical advantage, which is in our tournaments, the first round we don't pair people randomly because we have their elo punctuation.
okay.
You
Yeah.
know, so,
So I was
uh,
actually gonna ask about that. I actually, you can see some people grumbling or whatever complain, but I think that's a great idea. And when I ran big Warhammer events, I would actually do the same thing and
okay.
try to get, it's kind of like doing Swiss pairing, kind of
Exactly.
ahead of time, so nobody has a problem with Swiss pairings, but,
No,
you know, I think that's a great idea.
and these are all tools. Well, Saga is a beautiful game, and one of the things that attract me to Saga is you can enjoy the game in very different ways. I'm not saying that our way is the best; it's just a different way of enjoying the game, and offering diversity to the community, and having people have fun. That's the main objective is having fun and enjoying the game. That's all the rest are
Definitely.
simple tools.
Yeah, so Saga, I think it's a great game to dive into. It's very deep, but it's also one of the best, just kind of side games because you don't have to, 6 months later, the rules haven't changed. Everything's the same. You can generally just remember off the top of your head how it works.
Exactly.
So it's a very,
This year, our small community, with the efforts of Saga Portugal, we had a growth of more or less 30%. And
awesome.
these were very, very experienced competitive players from other systems. And when I asked them, what did you see in Saga? Well, the game is fun, the rules are very well constructed, but one of the things that appealed to us the most is that it's a very stable game. Okay?
Yes, definitely.
This is very important, I think. So we don't have to, buy armies every 2 years and make new lists, and this is very appealing.
Yeah,
And
that's cool to hear. Yeah, I'm definitely in that camp. I know some people kind of thrive off the chaos of GW
mhm,
releases, overpowered, underpowered, every year, mixing it up, and they love that about it. For me personally, yeah, I'm a slower painter, and I just like stability and kind of knowing what I'm going to get at the end of the project is the same as what I thought at the start.
that's true. So in the end, and then there's another thing that for me, it's the big beauty of Saga is that I compare it with a lot with chess. Why? Because you can learn the game in like 15 minutes, the basic rules. But if you want to play it well in a subtle way, it takes you a long time, you know. Uh,
Definitely. Knowing
so
when to use fatigues, leave them on, multiple activations, when to
every,
pop your abilities. It all
mhm,
definitely
getting to know all
factors
the
in.
board, and it's beautiful, beautiful.
Awesome. So for these, so every 2 months, you guys are kind of doing this tournament here, but you guys are also kind of mixing up how the format here, and I really like
Yeah,
this. So you call it
the Saga.
this Saga Blitz format. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, what we do was like I said, we try to serve the community as best as we can. So to offer them nice gaming experiences, diversity, and we thought, well, what can we give them that enhances their gaming experience? So we came up with this format, the Saga Blitz, which allows you to make in a tournament 4 games instead of 3. How do we do this? We do 2 games of 4 points each, and then 2, let's call them classic games of 6 points each. This
Mm-hmm.
is fun because playing with 4 points is with some boards is completely different than playing with 6 points.
Definitely,
So
yeah.
you know, so this is the first different challenge that we offer the gamers. well, you have this basic 6 or 7 point list, but from this list now you gotta make a 4 point list. So some boards are pretty much the same in terms of their functioning, but other boards do need the 6 points to maximize their potential. So this is a first challenge, and we tried several combinations, and we came to the conclusion that you do 2 4-point game in the morning until lunchtime, which is perfect, no problem. We allot 1 hour and 15 minutes for each game, 4 points, and then in the afternoon, you do the regular 2 to 6-point game. We did some study, and I can tell you we started the 4-point game with an average of 4.4 turns. So a lot of games didn't reach the end.
Sure, yeah, you just run out of bodies. The game's kind of come to its conclusion.
Exactly, but now we are on 5.6, 5.8 turns.
So people probably started out playing kind of the exact same way that they would with 6, but now they've realized you got to be cagier or something, like that.
Yeah, and there's a little trick also. 4-point games, we give the warlord 2 saga dice.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I saw that. I was going to mention that. So is that the only, kind of change for 4 points?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great change. Gives you, part of the fun is using the saga dice, and 4 points. You just don't quite have enough to do what you want. So I think that's a great idea. Kind of a throwback to version 1 too.
Yeah, exactly. And it works. People loved it. And as I told you, we have an average 5.6, 5.8 turns in a 4-point game, which is very good, very good. And there are even people, more experienced players, they end the game before 1 hour and 15, so perfect. Very, very interesting game.
Yeah, I like this out. I think that's really cool. I think the challenge of a 4-point warband versus 6-point, and trying to, pick one that you like that can compete in both of those. They could be slightly different, and I think the more different ways you can play Saga, I think the better. There isn't one right way to do anything, so it's great to hear you guys are doing that.
And in the end, you go to one of our tournaments, and it's like you have 2 different Saga experiences: 4-point and then 6-point. So you just enjoy the game, play it in different ways. It's very nice. We're very happy with it.
Okay. Now you also sent me the scenarios packet over, and this is really, I was chuckling at this. There's a lot of fun stuff in here, and I can see some of these scenarios really speeding up a game, if people are re-rolling. One of them is just everybody has determination if you don't have a bow, and you're like re-rolling a melee or something like that, your attack hits. So I could see.
We use a lot of those, little tricks in the 4-point games precisely to accelerate the game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So there's a ton of ideas here. I'm going to post this PDF that you sent me with the scenarios. I'll put it on the Saga Thursday Discord so people can look at it. And there's probably at least 20 in there.
Probably, yes. I'm writing more, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ideas here, and a lot of this is completely different from the kind of standard Book of Battles stuff, and even the stuff that I make is kind of based off the Book of Battles. So this is coming at it from a completely different approach. So I think there's a lot of cool ideas in here, and there's I like the one thing is there's kind of some, I would say, group games, or you're trying to kill a beast, or zombies, or you're running down peasants, and then you kind of turn on each other. So I think there's a lot of
for fun, not for competition, of course, but those are basically fun scenarios.
Exactly. So I'm going to be trying to kick off some kind of local gameplay. So it's perfect for me looking at those, because I was trying to figure out kind of group games, where you can have people jump in and kind of control a little war band, and we're all just kind of having fun trying to take out the beast or something like that. So these are perfect. I think sometimes you're at a club, or if you ask somebody you want to do a Saga demo or something, they'll be like, whatever, I don't really like it. But if you're like, hey, we're trying to kill this dragon here, can you jump in and control these guys? I think that's perfect for demo purposes. And then, they're moving the Saga dice around and they're like, oh, this is pretty fun, so it's kind of a lower bar to.
Roger, some other thing we do also is to try to, mind you, I have nothing whatsoever against the, I'm going to call it official scenarios, Book of Battles. Mm-hmm. I think they are very, very useful for people who are learning the game, for people who want to test their war bands. Some of them are very, very fun. I love them. But my feeling is that some of them are not exactly good for competition. And,
sure, yeah.
I'll tell you, because we have this let's say vision about the competition that Saga, it's a dice game, so yeah, it's a random game. So, but in competition, let's try to offer people a field as even as possible. Okay, not too random. I'll give you an example. There's a rule that says you reach the 5th turn, you roll the dice, and probably the game will end right there. Okay, mm-hmm. This is very. Now, suppose this is happening on a tournament. I do this with my opponent, and the guys in the next table, they end the game at 6 turns. This means they have one more turn to score than us,
Correct. So, massacre points and stuff. Yeah, that's something that I've noticed and have tried to take into account. So what are you guys doing then?
We don't use that rule.
Simple. Okay, simple enough.
But then to try to, you say, well, but let's make that. Let's test something, offer something. Something we did. I remember there's in Age of Hannibal. I think it's Carthaginian rules that says after deployment you take one unit and you place it wherever you want on the board. There's a ruse.
One of the ruses. Okay, yeah.
What we did in one of our tournaments, we allowed flank marches, okay? Which it's not in the basic rules, but we said, well, both players can do 1 or 2 flank marches during the game. After deployment, they just take their unit out, or they don't deploy it. Mm-hmm. You can have a flank march. So we try to have these little, tweaks to make the games different,
Yeah.
And it's working. It's wonderful. People are loving it. So,
Absolutely. That sounds great. Yeah. There's more than one way to do things, and I think that sounds fun. Adding a little speed maybe to some of the armies, and some interesting considerations for others. So I think that's cool. Now, for these tournaments, are they happening like at the same time every year, every 2 months? I'm thinking if somebody were to come over to Portugal, when are these tournaments happening?
We don't have a place of our own. Okay. What we do is sometimes we associate with other big wargaming events, so we depend on their dates, and we do tournaments in hobby shops also. So we depend on their availability in terms of dates. So it's almost impossible for us to give you a 1-year calendar in advance.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to know how that worked.
But what we can do, and we're next year we're starting a bigger presence in social media. Well, at least with a 2 months, warning, we'll start to announce our tournaments. So, and we're planning to have next year a big weekend tournament, which is another difficult for the Portuguese Saga community. It's very, very difficult to have people for a full weekend. But we're going to do something. We're going to do something. We're going to risk. This is news. We're going to make a Grand Melee, 2 days, weekends, and we're going to use the Saga Blitz format, which means the Grand Melee will have 7 games.
Oh yeah, baby, that sounds great. That's going to be my next question.
Yeah,
if
4
there's
on
a
Saturday, 3 on Sunday, which gives you a tournament with a lot of definition in terms of the winner, because you have to fight for 7 games. I think this is going to be crazy, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you lose a game, you're definitely not out. And
Or
probably,
if you lose 2
depending
games.
on the size, the guy who wins might have, 4 wins, 2 draws, and a loss, or,
Exactly.
nobody
And,
is
I
getting.
think this will be by the mid-year, probably June. And before that, we want to promote the tournament internationally, so try to get foreign players to us, and for this kind of experience, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah,
And
that sounds awesome. So
Mhm.
tentatively planning for June, and when you get those
Yes, we're
details
looking at
locked in,
yeah.
yeah, definitely we'll send those over. I'll share those deets. That sounds amazing. I would definitely love
I'll
to
let you know all the
get.
details with like 3 months in advance. Okay.
Hmm. That sounds cool. Well, it sounds like you guys got a great thing going over there. I appreciate you coming on to share everything. And
I thank you, George. And
uh,
I'm going to send you more stuff, more scenarios, and everything. And just I'll send you our Saga Portugal email. So we are, if people want to write to us and ask questions, anything, we are here for, for the community.
okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I was going to ask for some sort of contact information. I'm sure
Okay.
people, are traveling through there. Would love to get a game of Saga in if they could, or visit you guys. So I think that's great.
Wonderful.
I
They're gonna
love,
love it.
yeah, I love what you got going on there, and I want to
You do.
thank you for running all that and organizing it. It sounds like you're sacrificing your own gameplay, running all these events. Maybe you don't get to play as much as you want, but all right. Well, it was great to hear from you. Thank you for reaching
Thank
out,
you. For everything.
and we'll definitely catch up with you. And I'll post the details when you guys get the Portugal Grand Melee sorted. So looking forward to it. All right, folks. That's going to be it for this one. I do want to thank Terry, Patrick, Sean, Mitchell, Scott, and Frank, and the other Saga Thursday patrons. I wouldn't be doing these additional videos without you guys, so I really appreciate that. If you are intrigued by what Miguel was saying here, definitely comment below on some of the things you've heard, what interests you, and I will post the PDF of those scenarios for people to peruse. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for people, and there's good group scenarios in there, all kinds of scenarios. I like the one going after the pig. I think I might play that one next. That sounds funny. There's a special pig that poos gold, and both the war bands are trying to hunt it down. So I think that sounds fun. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. Thanks, Miguel. Really
Thank
appreciate
you,
it,
Rob. Thank you very
and
much.
we'll
Thank you.
talk to you soon. Saga. If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon, or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.